So I wanted to give a little context to this video. Essentially, I'm talking about the difference between using a bot and, copying manual. Around now has been a time where it's just extremely hard to grab sneakers. I've talked about this plenty of times. It's hard for me to get stuff. I typically just pay resale, and I decided to experiment with a bot. I decided to learn how to cop manual, and fortunately enough for me, I ran into this company, honestly, thanks to Chris over at Wear Testers, or Nightwing, as you guys know. He did a video on how to get sneakers for retail, and I really was intrigued by that. And I found out about this company called Soul Savvy. So between, trying out this Soul Savvy group, which is basically for real sneakerheads, no resellers allowed. It is a group that allows you to have a chance, get that knowledge that you need to cop sneakers for retail. And so far, I've gotten a lot of shoes for retail, no cap, bro. And it's really been great. And it kind of brings like that passion back of, I can cop these. There are sites that are available. That information is out there. So that's kind of to give you guys a little rundown about this. A lot of you guys were wondering how the bot went, and I'm gonna do a separate video on, bots and all that stuff, because there's a market for everyone. But at the end of the day, I think between me and you and a lot of other people, we just want to cop sneakers for retail. We don't want to pay resale. I mean, there's obviously a time and place, right, for resale, but for the most part, I just want to get my shoes and wear them. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what this video is about. Just wanted to give you guys that context so you can understand. Make sure to maybe take some notes. I mean, if you're very serious about getting shoes for retail, trust me, this is the video to watch. Write down some notes. Make sure to drop some comments down below, because we're gonna have a follow-up video, and I'd love to, just answer your guys' questions. Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Sneaker Life, back with another video, man. Today we have a special guest for the one time, man. This is basically, this whole video and concept is behind the Kobe 6 Grinch release and the 600,000 pairs that were released. D, you wanna talk about it a little bit? You wanna introduce yourself and let them know?
I'm laughing at that, but yeah, I'll touch on that in a sec. My name is DP, co-founder of Soul Savvy. We're a company really created and designed to help the average person cop sneakers that they want for retail without having to pay premiums, without having to need a bot and having to deal with StockX and Ghost. Mike, we were having a good laugh about this the day before release, because I was on Slack telling people I can't even add up to 60 or 80,000 pairs worldwide, and there was people on YouTube saying 600K.
Yeah.
Madness.
I was one of those people. I'm not gonna cap. DP told me the story, and I honestly I gave him both routes. I'm like, all right, man, I'm hearing two different stories.
Yeah.
Some people are saying these boutiques are only getting a size run, and we don't have a chance, or there's 600K. There might be some hope, and that wasn't the case.
You know where I stand. You know where I stood on that. It was, I never had much confidence in this release, because when I checked with stores, they were like, hey, I got 18, I got 24, I don't have any coming, yada, yada. I didn't have any insight into sneakers, but we saw Foot Locker had 3,000 pairs, which for people who are unaware, Foot Locker dropped 3,000 pairs in one size of the Jubilee 11s, right? So their whole inventory online was 3K pairs for Foot Locker US, and Champs, et cetera, didn't have it. And then I found out the sneakers had 15,000 pairs in the US. And at that point, I went to GOAT and I paid $400 for a pair, because I was like, this is gonna be a nightmare tomorrow. The demand and the hype is so crazy that I don't want to see the price in 48 hours be, $500. My biggest regret was not paying $350 when it was $350 midday, and I was toying with how much I should pay at the time.
Yeah, I paid $390 just because what I saw from you.
Yeah.
Now let's kind of talk about, there might be people watching like, oh man, who is this guy? How does he have this magical inside info? How do you know?
Fair. A variety of different ways. I'm also the co-founder of Kicksteals. I've been in the sneaker game for a decade now. I know a lot of stores. I know a lot of information. I have access to a lot of information. It doesn't come directly from the brands, but when I say something within Soul Savvy to the community, yourself included, I don't bullshit, right? I only say it if I know it with confidence. So if I don't know something, I will say I don't know it. Never did it come out of my mouth that there was going to be a ton of these. It was just trying to track down, was it was it 60,000 pairs in the world, or was it 120,000 pairs in the world? That was kind of the range that I was working with. And, you know, there's different ways where you can pull up stock for Foot Locker in the back end and all these different things in stores. Shoe Palace, you know, you saw me outline, Shoe Palace had 6 pairs of size 13 go up on their website, right?
Yeah.
There's different ways you can pull that information. So when I compiled that and I added it up, I got to like 22,000 in North America. And that's Nike's biggest region, right? Even if you triple that around the world or quadruple it, you're still only getting to 80,000 in the world.
Exactly. Nothing near 600K. Like, it was a SOL, man. Like, we had no real chance of copying that. So let's get into, so I did a video talking about like, okay, I'm running the bot. This is kind of an introduction to Soul Savvy. I'm testing both of these out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from there, I got obviously the feedback between people who actually watched the video and listened to what I had to say, saying, I'm trying this out. I don't do this on a daily. And a bunch of disappointment. Oh man, he's using a bot, bro. Thought you use bots, blah, blah. And then we also, you know, I mentioned, okay, I've tried out a cook group. What separates Soul Savvy from a bot or a cook group?
Right. So we don't use any bots within our service, and a cook group is generally geared to, I mean, it's geared towards resellers, right? The quote unquote term of cooking a drop. Soul Savvy is for real sneakerheads, people who want to buy a pair, throw it on their feet and wear it. It's just as simple as that. And we give our customers and our members the tools they need to purchase that product. And you've seen firsthand between the tools and the info in the last couple of weeks since you've been a member that, you know, we really prepare the average person for a release and kind of give you those insights and those opportunities, right? Like I took out the best parts of a bot so you could use it manually without getting flagged as a bot, right? Because that can be a problem within, depending on the type of drops.
So let's kind of get into, I guess from my experience of bots, a lot of the reason we're even making this video is just because we want to talk about the difference between being a manual user and a bot user. For you, let's just talk about the downsides of a bot, because in reality, it's not this magical like instant gratification, click a button and you got 10 pairs. Like it doesn't work that way, guys. And that's kind of why I wanted to test it, because I wanted to see what bots have to offer today. And we know that these bots can range from $150 up to $10,000 if you can believe it.
Yeah. We were just talking about a 10K bot maybe a half hour ago. Your frustration around the Kobe drop, I think, is how a lot of people feel for a lot of releases. They think, hey, if I buy this bot or get a bot or buy a slot, it's going to solve my problems. It's like, it's so far from that, because one, you have, you know, Nike sneakers, you have Shopify anti-bot protection, you have stores and brands going out of their way to stop bots and make it a better experience for the manual user. And then there's stores that don't, which is Foot Locker. They're trying and failing. On the flip side of that, it's really hard to use one. Like you said, this isn't a one-click checkout type of thing. This is prepare a proxy, get dedicated IPs. You need residential IPs. You need to spend a couple $100 a month just to operate your bot, which if it didn't cost you $3 or $4 grand, it probably isn't very good and won't help you very much, right? Yeah. So it's botting for an actual sneakerhead. The actual consumer is not, I mean, it's just not worth it. That investment alone is a waste of money, because you probably need to spend like $15K a year operating a bot, and the cost of buying it to justify owning it to succeed. And at that point, like, I mean, man, just pay resale. It's way easier for you to spend that much on a bot.
Especially when you're only buying like maybe 3 pairs a year that you really want. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, that just goes to show, guys, from what my experience, it was hectic. I woke up like 3 hours before the release. I didn't know anything about botting. I had to learn about proxies. I had to buy proxies. You got to buy the bot. You got to make sure all your accounts are set up. And I'm just like, bro, I'm just trying to get 1 pair of shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really not that serious.
And that's where the manual thing comes in, is just like all that stuff that you talked about, we package in a way that's just much simpler to use and take. Like, we have proxies on our end that do all the finding for this for the product, and we use expensive residential IP addresses, and we do all this stuff so that we present you with a package which is just like, here's a link to buy this shoe in your size, 1 click checkout. Now, Grinch 6 is were a pain in the ass, right? Like,
Yeah.
like that was something we could do, but as you saw with Shoe Palace, did you try the Shoe Palace method I prepared everyone with?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like I had in your cart at checkout, ready to pay for the shoes. They dropped, I refreshed, I put in my credit card, I hit pay, and I got a sold out screen. And I could not have been any faster. The reason I took it out, there was 20 pairs in my size 11, right? Like if we're fighting over table scraps, it's gonna be really hard. But when you're looking at something like Bread 350s, like stores were dropping thousands of pairs online at a time, right? That was very attainable. So if your goal is to buy shoes to wear them on your feet, I would stay clear of bots completely. It's just such a headache, and it's not fun. It's really not fun. I don't know about you, but like the thrill of a cop is sometimes the best part.
No, of course. I think that was the cool thing about being a part of this group, guys. And we're literally not trying to sell you on anything. We wouldn't be making this video if it wasn't extremely beneficial for all of us. I mean, the whole point and the reason I started this channel was just based off of the love of shoes, right? And I know a lot of you guys watching, it's just one of those things where if you take L after L for years, it's not fun anymore. But honestly, being a part of, he did a Zoom on the day of the Kobe's. So I was running that bot and I was also listening in at like the strategies they have.
Yeah.
And as soon as it's live, everyone's like freaking out. You can feel your heart drop, and I just missed that feeling, you know? Yeah. Even though I took the L, it was more exciting because I'm doing it with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And it was just fun versus just knowing you took the L versus a bot.
And that's, I mean, look, that's what inspired me to start So Savvy is two parts, right? I want to make it attainable for actual sneakerheads to buy shoes for retail, but I also want to bring the culture back together and let you have fun doing it. Like there's nothing worse than taking an L by yourself at home, like no one to console you. At least if you're going to take an L, you'll be taking it within a community that like cares about sneakers and that can actually help you. Like I've seen people throw assists and oop people product for retail, which doesn't happen anymore on sneaker Twitter and Instagram, because why would anybody do that? But it's because you build those friendships, right? Like the sneaker culture and the community is thriving. It's just we've been broken apart, and we're having a hard time finding other people who care like we care about the product. And that's all I want. I just want the world to not be dictated by StockX prices, GOAT listings, consignment stores. Because like if that's the way the culture goes for the next 5 to 10 years, like what are we going to have left? Everyone's going to tap out at some point, and we're just going to be miserable. But we don't have to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think we really set the market, right? As far as that's concerned, like a Union is going for $800, but why? Because we are willing. Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, we are willing to pay it. And that's what I said before the Kobe drop. Like the Kobe's aren't going to resell for $800, even though they're so limited, they should be $1,000. As far as like, if you take the Kobe's were more limited than the Off-White 4s, like not even close. Probably a third of the stock. But it's the demand, right? And the hype beast mentality, and people with money who want to fit in and buy sneaker culture by buying Off-White 4s. But the people who love Kobe, like yo, we don't have $500 to spend. We definitely don't have $1,000 to spend on a Kobe, right? So we do dictate those prices, and it's why when I can, I have 100 pairs of Jubilee 11s. I have 100 pairs of Yeezy 350 Breads. I have 100 pairs of Bread 4s sitting in my garage that I'm waiting to release in January to members in our members store for retail. Because like, man, if I can keep 300 pairs of shoes off of StockX, I'm stoked, right? Or someone will open a consignment store, right? Like we don't need that anymore, right? I feel like a lot of members come to us and they're like, I'm giving up. I hate this. And I'm like, yo, like, don't give up. This sneaker culture is fine. We just need to fight for us ultimately.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I think that's where we just relate a lot, because I feel like especially this year, obviously people losing jobs, people are getting into this culture for the wrong reasons, which I get it. You got to pay your bills. But to an extent of like, to people, I have a large audience, so I got the plug, right? I can buy any shoe I want. It's so hard for me to get stuff. So I can't imagine Jimmy in Ohio, no disrespect to Ohio, but you know what I'm saying? Like, who doesn't have even the closest chance. And I think that's why we connected on that aspect because I want a lot of you guys to just be able to buy simple shoes. If you want cement fours when they did drop, that was an easy release back then. But nowadays it would probably be insanely hard to get. But I want you guys to just look into this group and kind of check it out because I've been using it for a few weeks now and it's been great. And I really want just the culture to be that way, especially on this channel. Like obviously I have my hype beast in myself, right? But to an extent, like I just want us all to have shoes and enjoy it. That's kind of the whole point of this community.
Yeah, dude, we all have the inner hype beast, right? Like I will chase all the dope collabs, and the dope collabs, they're the most unique, right? That's why they're so fun and such good designs, is because like something special is coming out of that. So of course we all want it, but at the end of the day, like, are you a sneakerhead or are you a hype beast? If you're a hype beast, you're probably going to be miserable forever because I mean, you'll just be chasing hype. But if you're a sneakerhead, like there's a lot of different ways to win and be happy. And that ultimately comes down to like, the reality is for every 10 hype drops, and let's just say hype is like resells for over $700, right?
Yeah.
You're probably going to take 90% of the L's. That's just the reality, because Nike, Adidas, New Balance, whoever designed the shoe and produced it, they want it to be like that.
Of course. Yeah, I probably hit on like 3 out of 20.
Yeah. I mean,
it's the game.
Now, you know, there's situations where like, did you get the Union Force?
Yeah. Oh, no. I paid resale for them things.
Oh, okay. See, that is a drop in August where I spent 2 hours on Zoom preparing people in a webinar. I want to say we had 750 checkouts on the Union website in late August, because like that was an ideal scenario, right? Large stock, because it was a Union only drop, right? It was on Shopify, so they had bot protection. They had brand new bot protection as well. No bots worked on it, and like people were prepared. Which is like my segue here to say, like, I feel like most sneakerheads just aren't prepared for the reality of what it's like to buy shoes in 2020 and now 2021 soon is like, you know, they think about bots. You tried one. But yeah, it's completely changed. Like 5 years ago, go wait in line. If you can wait in line 24 hours, you're probably gonna get a pair, or enter a raffle or wait at the mall. Like that's like, those days are long gone.
Yeah. I miss those days. Really do. But you're right. I mean, that's what it's come down to. And let's kind of get into buying sneakers in 2020 and continuing obviously into 2021. It's not going to be that anymore. So from your perspective, what can people take away from this? Like, what does the future hold? Is it always going to be online? Are these raffles even a real deal? I think that's the hardest thing, is like, I see all these raffles all the time on Instagram, and I'm like, bro, I'm tired of taking L's. Like, nobody emailing me.
All right, let's start with the raffles. I think what COVID has done, it brought a lot of stores to the reality of like, they don't have to do in-store releases first come first serve, because there's a headache that comes with that. And you know, you can disagree if they're right or wrong. It doesn't matter. Stores don't like doing in-person raffles for the most part. It's just a lot of work for them. Are they legit? Yes. The problem is end clothing. Right, everyone on earth knows about End. Everyone knows to enter End raffles, SNS. You know, they know about those stores. It's the fact that like, and the Instagram ones are all pretty famous. It's opening. I don't know if you've seen the Raffles channel or even on the Soul Savvy app, but like each release could have like 40 or 50 raffles around the world. It's kind of diversifying the options. At the same time, it goes back to like, if stores are going to raffle shoes, they're probably raffling it because there's not a lot of inventory. And if they're raffling it because there's not a lot of inventory, you're looking at 30 pairs. Like it's hard. It's hard to hit, which for me is, I think the last 2 years expedited sneaker culture into the mainstream more than Nike could have ever been prepared for, or Adidas could have been prepared for, right? Like, I just don't think they're making enough inventory for how many people now want shoes. When you think about that, it's acceptable to wear sneakers with, you know, dress clothes or a skirt for a woman, right? Like it's more part of culture now than ever before. And the companies need to catch up to that. I don't know if you think that's fair. That's how I feel. Like 2020, like who's not into sneakers now?
No, I mean, you're right. I don't know who. Always the conversation. No matter where I go, people are like, "Hey, nice shoes. Oh, you got the Unions. Oh, you got the Jordan ones."
Yeah.
Like the 80-year-old man will
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, man, those J's are fresh." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone
It's a lot.
knows.
Yeah. It's a lot more. I mean, it's fully penetrated the culture, just like mainstream wise, right? From celebrities to everything going on. Everyone knows about a hot shoe, and you can blame sneakers partly for that. Like, it is way too easy to open a sneakers account and enter on every hype release and flip it, right? There's also
Yeah,
that part of like everyone's kind of a reseller now. Like Fragment threes, I didn't want them at all, like at all. I still
yeah,
top entry on sneakers because I'm like, oh, if I hit this, I'm gonna go cop the other Union colorway that I didn't get, right? Like
for sure.
that's a mentality a lot of sneakerheads have, and
It's definitely me.
it's fair though. Like I said to you, you can't, if you're only gonna hit on 1 out of 10 major releases or 1 out of 20, and the one that you hit on you don't want, like man, go trade or sell that for something you do want. That's the reality of where we're at, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the brands are fucking with us, man.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
Yeah.
it is a tough thing, but I guess I just appreciate the fact that the direction that you're pushing is just to get that kind of passion and culture and those W's back.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, moral of the story: Raffles, legit.
Raffles. I mean, Raffles. They're legit, but like, it's a tough one, right? And
Yeah, when you have 22,000 entries and 30 pairs, I mean,
yeah,
what can you really do?
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's tough, right? Which then kind of takes me to the other side of this is like, knowledge is power, and I don't think a lot of people are knowledgeable enough around how to buy shoes. We're taping this on the day of the reverse flu games. I consider that such an easy purchase, but I guarantee there's people out there who maybe even watching this video right now who are like, I couldn't get a pair, right? That is something that's very easy to fix.
Yeah,
And then there's something like that bodega drop on Monday, or the undefeated 97s that are going to be hard, but they're still very attainable. But for the average person who has no idea what they're doing, as far as like navigating computer or these releases or these queues or bot protection, like you're probably going to take an L because you don't know the landscape, right? It's changed. You're not as comfortable with it, right? So that's part of what we try to do is like, I say everyone who joins Soul Savvy is like elementary school kid who like, you think you know what you're doing, you show up to class, you're ready to learn, and you actually are at like Harvard right now with a PhD professor trying to teach you how to cop sneakers, and you're completely lost, right?
yeah,
That's the truth ultimately, right? And we have a lot of structure in place to teach people that, because I want people to buy shoes and wear them. Like that should be so crazy to say. Like, I think the first time we met, I was like, I told you that, and you were kind of like, that doesn't exist here.
yeah. No, I mean, that's facts. The moral of the story, guys, is just we all want the culture to be what it should be. Like, I've met so many great people over shoes, and it's kind of been skewed based on not being able to cop anything.
Yeah.
So you guys can check out Soul Savvy. Is there anything else you want to sign off with?
Don't join if you're not willing to put in the work. I would say, like, it's a great community, a lot of great people. We have great staff. We do this full time. Our goal, like I said, is to bring that culture together, make you feel like you're a part of a community that cares, and help you buy shoes for retail. But again, that's same thing like a bot. This isn't going to be one click checkout, no work. Like, you got to learn some things, practice some methods, be dedicated to your essentially a craft now, right? Like this.
Yeah.
Game has changed. The game is the game.
For sure. And I'll end off with my experience with Soul Savvy. There is so many different channels. There's a lot to learn. It's not easy, period. Like, you really, like you said, you need to put in the work. And I think that's one thing I was lacking. Every release, I would just wake up on Saturday, enter, took the L, pissed.
Yeah, or Foot Locker. Like, I cannot believe the amount of people who wake up, toss an entry on sneakers, then go to Foot Locker and go, oh shit, it's sold out. And then like, that's the L. Whereas like you've seen, again, the 13s, the flu games, the stuff that's been dropping lately, like we give people 15 options ranked with bot protection, and you know, access to one click. Well, like sometimes it can be one click checkout to buy your size, right? Like there's so much more to sneakers than Foot Locker, which is, for anyone from Foot Locker listening, I'm sorry, but y'all suck. Your site sucks. It's terrible. Please fix it. I make this plea any chance I get. It's just not good. And then to sneakers, like everyone's on sneakers. Everyone has the sneakers app or 4 accounts for it with their girlfriend's username and mom and dad's phones.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, there's stores around the world dropping shoes. You just got to know where to look.
For sure. So for me, I guess what I want you guys to do is, I'm sure me and DP can get back together and answer some questions that you guys have just based on what you've gotten from this video so far. So make sure to drop a comment down below. But other than that, you can check out Soul Savvy down below in the description, and that's pretty much it. I mean, moral of the story, question of the day, bots versus manual. I personally would choose manual because botting is no joke.
Yeah. And
it doesn't work all the time, so.
Yeah.
And you're not guaranteed anything, so.
No.
You're never guaranteed anything.
Yeah, there's a botter who YouTubes a lot, and after every major, I forget his name, I stopped watching him because after every major release, I'd pull up his video and I'd watch him take an L. Like this guy spent so much setting up to take an L for something that I copped manually with our method, right? Like, and the flip side of that is also like, yo, Foot Locker sucks. Like if you ever see a wall of sneakers lined up on some kid's Instagram page, probably copped on Foot Locker. But again, Foot Locker, please. Hit up your man if you need some advice.
Yeah, seriously. But all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to drop those comments down below. This is your boy Sneaker Life. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Run it.
House pin games, something mad yucks, bros. No sleeping, been a task rabbit, been a lab addict. The chief of the tribe I put on for my village. Used to be local, I'm taking it global. Sharp with the focus, you catching emotion. Treat that holistic, I give it a physics. Fuck your opinion, just did a show, only spit raw material. I'm independent, bitch, I'm in the building. Look what we built it feel like no ceiling.